A guy, his whole head's a giant pumpkin. His friend goes, "What happened?" He's like, "I found a genie in a lamp, and he gave me three wishes." And he's like, "What happened?" "Well, the first wish, I wished for $100 million, and I got it. And for my second wish, I wished for like a beautiful lady, and I got her." And the guy's like, "Yeah, but what happened?" He's like, "Oh, well, the third wish, that's when I really blew it." And the guy's like, "What happened?" He goes, "I wished for a giant pumpkin head." It's Norm Macdonald. There are lots of different styles and ways to journal and take notes. Today I'm going to talk about the zibaldone. Zibaldone. It's an Italian word from the 14th century. Originally, it meant a heap of things or miscellany, and later on, it became specific to describing a notebook that contained just all types of different things, all types of different information, quotes, passages from books that they like, and basically just whatever. It wasn't your typical journal where you wrote down your day or your feelings or thoughts or things like that. So if you read or heard something that sounded pretty cool and you wanted to remember it, you just write it down. Could be all of it, could be just a portion of it, and you can refer back to it as little or as much as you wanted to. So going back to around the time when Zibaldone was first introduced or started to gain popularity, it was the 14th century, and back then books were pretty rare to have. For the most part, it was the wealthy that had collections, private libraries. Schools would also have them. They didn't have Barnes& and Noble back then. They didn't have the public libraries like we do today. So when some people did get access to these libraries, to these books, to the information, they'd jot the stuff down. They'd read it, find stuff that they liked, wrote as much as they could down, or whatever they wanted to down, and that's pretty much the Zibaldone. And to me, I think one of the coolest things about Zibaldone notebooks back then is that people shared their notebooks to copy off of each other, to share what they had found, what they found interesting. And I think that's really neat because it shows a little bit about their personality, what they're showing to us, what they find cool, what they find interesting. And it was just a neat way of expanding your knowledge, expanding your horizons by sharing your notes. And a lot of these Zibaldones were actually passed down as heirlooms. Of course, people still did have journals and logs and diaries and stuff like that to pass down so that you could read what your grandpa did. So, different from a journal or diary where they mainly wrote down what they were doing, how they felt, stuff like that, this was a notebook that contained passages or excerpts from their interests, from books that they read, from sermons that they heard, maybe, poems, literature, anything they just wanted to jot down that wasn't their thoughts originally, but maybe resonated with them. Maybe they just thought was funny. Basically, just things that they wanted to copy down. I recently started a Zibaldone in this Kiki's Delivery Service journal that my fiance got me as a gift. Right now, it only contains the preface of my favorite book, The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde, as well as a few quotes from that book. But I've actually collected over time a bunch of quotes and sayings and jokes and poems that I wanted to add. So I think tonight will be the night that I'll actually write them into the notebook. And when I'm done, I'll read them all to you if you want to stick around for that. Why didn't I just write these things down in the Zibaldone notebook in the first place? Well, first, I was waiting for a nice notebook, so thanks, Jamie, for that. And two, a lot of them are screenshots from videos or movies that I watched, or I've written them down in the Notes app on my iPhone, so I've always just been meaning to transfer them onto paper, which I prefer. Also, for now, I'm trying not to include too many things from movies or TV shows since I incessantly quote them on a daily basis anyways, so unfortunately, a substantial chunk of my brain is already dedicated to harboring and storing lines and dialogue from movies and TV shows, so we'll spare the notebook for now. One quote I can think of that I use a lot, or at least more than the others, is from Mulan. It's when the Emperor goes, "A single grain of rice could tip the scale." And I usually say that when I'm being a smartass and stuff like that, but if I had to think, that would be the one I'd say the most. Things like that. I mean, I think it is a good saying. Actually, yeah, I'm just gonna write it. I'll write it down. I guess that one's not too bad. I guess what I was thinking more of was pretty much the entire script of the Lord of the Rings trilogy, Star Wars original trilogy, some of the prequels, Spider-Man Raimi trilogy, Back to the Future trilogy. They don't have to be trilogies. I'm just thinking of trilogies right now, but movies, TV shows that I grew up watching, I just love repeating what they say, so I think it's fun. One more thing I want to share before I start reading off the entries is that back when I was in high school in the Philippines, maybe 13 or 14 years old, Me and my friend Miguel Shao were big Invader Zim fans, and we had a piece of paper that would we'd pass back and forth, and we'd try to see who could remember the most quotes from Invader Zim. I think I still do have that piece of paper somewhere in the Philippines, so I will show it and share it if I ever do get to see it again. I guess not completely related to the zibaldoneeee stuff, but just wanted to share. Alright, I'm going to start reading the ones I wrote down tonight. I wanted to write a couple last minute ones, but they were from Mel Brooks and Monty Python, so I figured I'll just save that for next time when I really do more movies and TV shows. I'm going to read the Oscar Wilde ones last because they're kind of long, so let's start with No, it was told to me by a wise old Indian. Okay, I said I wasn't going to quote movies, but this was from The Nice Guys, and it was the only joke in the entire movie to make me laugh. Are they all capable of flying? If we tear off their wings, they're just caterpillars. That's an exchange from Sanji and Nico Robin from One Piece. I want to express myself by external means. Hideaki Anno on making the Evangelion rebuilds. Don't haphazardly stick food in your mouth. Be aware of what's in front of you, of what you're eating. That is the responsibility, the duty imposed on those who consume life. Baki's dad said that. Photography is truth, and cinema is truth 24 times a second. Jean-Luc Godard. Our universe gives life only a brief moment to shine, a haven in time, safe from its fiery birth and icy death. Some YouTube video I watched about the universe eventually dying. So this is from the title page of a book called Flatland. I did a very poor job copying it, and I just thought it was funny that the middle said, my wife, and then on the right it was my wife's apartment. I just thought that was funny. And at the bottom you can see that my very bad handwriting transcends languages. So in Japanese, I'm also going to butcher the pronunciation by the way, but please correct me in the comments if you'd like. Suki koso mono no shiozu nare, which means if you like it, you will do it well. They distort their countenance to look as weary and organized as possible. Imperfect action is better than perfect inaction. I think about that a lot when I'm not doing anything or not making anything, instead of actually going out there and trying to do something, so that actually helps a lot. My films come to me very much alive, like dreams without logical patterns or academic explanations. Werner Herzog from Herzog on Herzog. My mistress's eyes are nothing like the sun. Coral is far more red than her lips is red. If snow be white, why then her breasts are dun. If hairs be wires, black wires grow on her head. I have seen roses damasked, red and white, but no such roses I see in her cheeks. And in some perfumes is there more delight than in the breath that from my mistress reeks. I love to hear her speak, yet well I know that music hath a far more pleasing sound. I grant I never saw a goddess go. My mistress, when she walks, treads on the ground. And yet, by heaven, I think my love as rare as any she belied with false compare. William Shakespeare, Sonnet 130. Restrain your protestation. That was from Nosferatu, which I watched recently. Willem Dafoe's character said it. I thought it was hilarious. It's not what you look at that matters, it's what you see. Henry David Thoreau. I cannot hear what you say for the thunder that you are. Yap, from Werner Herzog's The White Diamond. Apparently he was fed that line. I don't know, but still a pretty cool thing to say. Whether it's real or not is for you to decide. If you ask me, those words are a relic of a bygone age. Atlas from One Piece. Stop trying to get everyone to agree. When you need everyone to agree, the least agreeable person has all the power. People who can't communicate think everything is an argument. People who lack accountability think everything is an attack. If anyone tells you that such a person speaks ill of you, don't make excuses about what is said of you, but answer, he does not know my other faults, else he would not have mentioned only these. Epictetus. More of a comment, really. Norm Macdonald. I bet the board is spelled B-O-R-E-D. Also Norm Macdonald. This is my favorite comedian. Tons of his jokes are constantly swim through my head, so I'll eventually write them down. Save your breath. I am neither afraid nor capable of being comforted by your banal words, said Mr. Freeze from Batman Beyond. Do not give dogs what is sacred. Do not throw pearls to pigs. If you do, they may trample them under their feet and turn and tear you to pieces. Jesus said that in Matthew 7:6. More or less just saying that you shouldn't give people things that you know they won't appreciate. In the world of trading anything, the best deals are those where everyone walks away richer in happiness. I saw that in a Deep Pocket Monster video. A single grain of rice could tip the scale. The Emperor of China from Mulan. Lastly, I'm going to go to the picture of Dorian Gray excerpts. So this is the preface. The artist is the creator of beautiful things. To reveal art and conceal the artist is the artist's aim. The critic is he who can translate into another matter or a new material his impression of beautiful things. The highest as the lowest form of criticism is a mode of autobiography. Those who find ugly meanings in beautiful things are corrupt without being charming. This is a fault. Those who find beautiful meanings in beautiful things are the cultivated. For these there is hope. They are the elect to whom beautiful things mean only beauty. There is no such thing as a moral or an immoral book. Books are well written or badly written, that is all. The 19th century dislike of romanticism is the rage of Caliban not seeing his own face in the glass. The moral life of man forms part of the subject matter of the artist, but the morality of art consists in the perfect use of an imperfect medium. No artist desires to prove anything. Even things that are true can be proved. No artist has ethical sympathies. An ethical sympathy in an artist is an unpardonable mannerism of style. No artist is ever morbid. The artist can express everything. Thought and language are to the artist instruments of an art. Vice and virtue are to the artist materials for an art. From the point of view of form, the type of all the arts is the art of the musician. From the point of view of feeling, the actor's craft is the type. All art is at once surface and symbol. Those who go beneath the surface do so at their peril. Those who read the symbol do so at their peril. It is the spectator and not life that art really mirrors. Diversity of opinion about a work of art shows that the work is new, complex, and vital. When critics disagree, the artist is in accord with himself. We can forgive a man for making a useful thing as long as he does not admire it. The only excuse for making a useless thing is that one admires it intensely. All art is quite useless. And then here are some quotes from the book. Words, mere words, how terrible they were. How clear and vivid and cruel. One could not escape from them. And yet what a subtle magic there was in them. They seemed to be able to give a plastic form to formless things and to have a music of their own, as sweet as that of viol or of a lute. Mere words. Was there anything so real as words? Every portrait that is painted with feeling is a portrait of the artist, not of the sitter. The only way to get rid of temptation is to yield to it. The books that the world calls immoral are books that show the world its own shame. So, I don't think it's too bad of a start for my zibaldoneeee. I'm going to do my best to not have too many fortune cookie-esque things in there, and maybe more jokes, more poems. But otherwise, not too bad of a start. If you have a zibaldoneeee, let me know in the comments what your favorite quotes are. If you want to add anything to this, I'd love to hear from you. And if you have any comments or questions about any of the things that were written here.